New at 5 o'clock tonight, a shocking find for Tennessee state troopers inside a U-Haul truck, Virginia bound from California. Police say a trooper pulled that driver over in Tennessee for following too close and noticed dogs running loose in the back of a minivan attached to the truck. After opening the truck, investigators found, get this, 144 dogs crammed in 3 or 4 in a crate. Officers say it's likely the animals hadn't been walked or fed in days and they were living in their own filth. One of the dogs even died. Now 2 women with ties to Roanoke are facing dozens of charges. Bonnie Shaheen and Pamela King McCracken are being held on $100,000 bail each, and both face at least 128 charges of animal neglect. David Tate has been tracking the story all day. He's live in our Roanoke studio tonight.
Yeah, Dana, the fact is the more you look at these 2 ladies who ran a California nonprofit called Hearts for Hounds, the more questions arise over exactly what these 2 women were up to. Several months ago, the crew at Angels of Assisi had heard Hearts for Hounds may be relocating to Virginia, which alone raised red flags as the group hadn't contacted any local rescue groups for help. So there was no surprise when the crew heard the group was arrested in Tennessee. What doesn't make sense to them, however, is how an animal rescue group could put 140 animals through the ordeal these animals were forced to endure.
A lot of people have big hearts and really good intentions when they go into rescue, but it takes more than good intentions when you run a rescue.
Angels of Assisi has plenty of experience in that department. In their system, each animal gets its own cage that is strapped in, food and water when needed, and heat or AC depending on the weather. And that's for short trips. A 2,700-mile trip with 140 animals is difficult to fathom.
Animals over a long distance, they need to be taken out of their crates and walked about every 3 to 4 hours so they can, urinate and defecate. If not, those cages need to be cleaned pretty frequently. So that's a lot of work.
Even more baffling is where these animals would have ended up once in Virginia. Both women own homes in Roanoke, which by code would not suffice. And this 12-acre Huddleston area farm bought by King McCracken in December sits untouched, much like it has since it foreclosed in 2010. Now, according to their website, which has since been disabled, Hearts for Hounds had been preparing for an adoption drive this weekend in Huddleston. Now, that adoption drive, of course, has been canceled. Now, it's also important to note that while Hearts for Hounds is a registered nonprofit in California, I'm unable to find any record of Hearts for Hounds as a nonprofit here in Virginia. Danner?
All right, David Tate reporting live. Now, there is no evidence yet that the 2 women obtained an interstate transport certificate for the animals, and that is required by federal law. One for every animal should have been issued after a conditions check by a veterinarian in California.